Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our happy hour. It's Friday. I think today's maybe January 23rd. Is that right?
You're off.
24th.
All right. got my man hat in here.
You might want to stop drinking now.
You know, normally I don't really. I haven't even touched a drop yet. Just wait till I finish this thing. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good.
I'm good.
Doing good.
Another week. Record in the S&P, Tom.
All-time high.
All-time high. If you're a bull, you got to be liking this action, even though all the headlines say how bad things are going to get.
Yeah, it's been a good week. I mean, week and a half ago, I guess, when we got that CPI report out, PPI. So everybody was talking about inflation. Still not really seeing it. Nothing long term. No big problems there. I know all of us, well, except Tyler. Tyler's in Pittsburgh, but the rest of us are kind of in the Carolinas.
Yeah,
and it's been a January like no other in the Carolinas. I know John and Chris, they've been in Charleston. They got hit with a little snowstorm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got, I don't know, a good 3, 4, or 5 inches, depending upon where you were. But I was able to get out, yesterday I went out for a bit, but this is not your usual January in Charleston. So, get it out of the way early. I don't know, maybe, this will be the January effect. Snowstorm.
I hope not.
Yeah. Speaking of January effect, I've been it's been a dry January for me. So a lot of people do dry January. So I decided I would do it and then realized we were going to have this happy hour today. And it's like, okay, I guess I know which day my dry January is going to end on.
You didn't have to end it at noon.
So, yeah, I've got this is a Juicy J. So I'm just a little bit south of Charlotte, North Carolina. This is Legion Brewing. But they got some good beers. We got a lot of breweries around here. So my drink of choice is usually just recreationally, normally just Coors Light. But I figured on this special occasion, I'd pop one of the Juicy J. It's a India Pale Ale, East Coast India Pale Ale. So I don't know how many of you out there do much with craft beers. I don't usually drink a lot of them just because, a lot of calories. They're very filling. But every once in a while, I'll have one. I don't know. I might have had one the first night I met Matt Townsend.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, Matt's got a degree in finance, and of course he's been with us now for a few years. But when I first moved down to the Carolinas back in 2015, Matt was a bartender, and it was one of the first places I went after I had moved down to the Carolinas, and so met him there. Threw a lot of cornhole over the years, through some tournaments. But he probably served me my first drink at a bar down in North Carolina. So
that's pretty cool. Yeah, we definitely played a little too much cornhole that summer.
Yeah, I probably didn't write as many articles in those times. But no, it was a lot of fun. But that's where I met Matt. And of course, John and I, for those of you who've been with us at EarningsBeats for a while, we go back a long, 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 long time. What was it, about 1930?
No, you're just thinking when I was born.
I would have guessed 1900 on that one.
1980s.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
And then we had different careers, and then a lot of new faces in here for people who don't know us. In 2004, we started the company. So last year we celebrated 20 years. We're into our 21st year right now. Very proud of that. We got a great team. Really sorry Erin couldn't be in tonight because she plays such an important role, but everybody in this room really, makes a big difference. And by the way, we have members who've been with us since we first started.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Going back a long time. And, this weekend, changing subjects for a minute. Everybody always sees me in my Carolina Panther gear, which I'm wearing today as well, mostly just because it's comfortable. because everybody on this panel here knows I'm a lifelong Washington Redskin fan. So I've been following them for years and years. My dad used to have, we've had season tickets. We had season tickets starting in 1958. And so that went all the way until one of my brothers and I gave them up finally in 2014. That was the last year we had our tickets, mostly because I was moving out of town and he was as well. We weren't really that close to the DC area any longer. So ended up giving them up then. And of course, we had them during all the Dan Snyder years for the most part when they were horrible. But
lean years.
Yeah, you couldn't take it anymore.
Lean years.
Mark Brunell, Patrick Ramsey. Do those names ring any bells?
Yeah, Patrick Ramsey does, because I named my dog after Patrick Ramsey after we drafted him. I thought that was going to be the savior.
Yep.
Instead, it was
Jason
the dog
Campbell
that was my savior.
Yeah, that was a good dog.
Yeah. But, I sent out, I don't know, I think it was a text to Tyler, my son, and to Aaron, my daughter, because I said, this is the first time in your lifetime that the Redskins, I know everybody says Commanders, I've not been able to move on. It's ingrained in my blood. I've been a Redskin fan for so long, but I said, this is the first time in your lifetime that you've seen the NFL with the Redskins in a championship game. Because I think the last one was 1991.
Yep.
And then, of course, we went to the Super Bowl and played Buffalo, and Buffalo's still alive against Kansas City. So it'd be really interesting, I think, if the two got together for a little 34-year reunion.
I
would love
definitely
that.
prefer that over Kansas City versus Eagles Super Bowl. But
Yeah, I
we'll
don't know
see.
if they're America's team anymore. The Chiefs.
Yeah. Chiefs, I don't know. Patrick Mahomes, he's one of those guys that just, rises to the occasion, just does everything he needs to do to win. He just wins. Of course,
Absolutely.
everybody talks about the refs, being maybe in the same colored uniforms, and maybe they should put them in the same colored uniforms, but
Yeah.
still got to make the plays when it counts, and he seems to do it.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Yeah. So anyway, anybody got any plans this weekend?
Oof. Nothing
Still
crazy
watching
for me.
football.
Yeah, football.
I
on
got football on
Sunday.
the docket.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah, I think we
Football on
lost
the
John.
docket for me. Yeah, that's what it looks like. He was having connection issues earlier this morning, though, so not
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah, probably still some ice down there.
Oh, it
Yeah.
looks like he might be joining back here.
Yeah, so it's been an interesting January so far, especially in the market. We're not planning to talk a whole lot about the market, but to me, it seems like the market's poised to continue to move in higher, and that's what we've been seeing. And so I do look forward to my Fridays when the market closes. Sometimes when it's warmer, go up and hang with the people up the club, where I golf a lot. Got a lot of friends up there, and it's interesting to get others' perspectives on the stock market who don't follow it every day. And many of you probably can relate to that as well. But, just the different perspectives of, the market and whether or not you want to invest and how much you trust investing over the years, in the market. But for me, it's kind of second nature. I've been following it for so long, and I really enjoy it. I think you all know, or at least if you've been a EarningsBeats member or listened to the shows and all, I'm pretty passionate about the market. Everybody's passionate about something, and for me, it's always been the market. I remember when John and I, shortly after we first met, he had his own financial services, mortgage servicing rights. I think you worked in that area, right, John?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he was doing that back in the 1980s, and I was in my CPA firm from the early 80s until I left the CPA firm in 1998, but I was on my own doing accounting stuff until about 2003. But John's company and my CPA firm, we shared office space. And so we got to know each other pretty well. And it was during some of the lunches that we had and dinners, we would sit down together and we talk a lot, and found out we had a lot of common passions. One of those being the stock market. I guess the other one would be golf, although wasn't really much of a contest, was it, John?
No. You got
Uh,
especially the putting.
Yeah, I was a pretty good putter. Still got it a little bit.
Still floating around there.
Yeah. I know I lost. I think I lost in the old putting days.
Yeah. I remember going out on putting green with John. It was fun. Wasn't very competitive, but it was fun.
As I grew up, you ever see the movie Groundhog Day, Tom?
What's that?
Did you ever see the Groundhog Day?
Yeah. Bill Murray.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we lost him.
Yeah, he's definitely bouncing
in and out.
I think his internet connection might be a little unstable.
Yeah, it's okay.
Chris is down there with him, so I guess we lost him too.
Yeah.
This is just like me at the bar on Friday nights. I keep losing a friend.
Me.
One friend after another keeps dropping off. But speaking of golf, though, these two guys on the side of me here, it used to be I'd school both of them. Now they're both hitting it way past me.
Yep.
Yeah, Tyler's the one making the big move, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Starting to feel pretty good.
We used to when we lived in Maryland. I was a member at a country club. Actually, it's the same country club that Denny McCarthy, who's on the PGA Tour now. Denny McCarthy was also, his family was a member there. I knew his family really well, and we played golf sometimes. But I know one of Tyler's biggest regrets, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Tyler, but being at that country club, and he never used it. He just never really had that golf gene until after we were gone, and didn't have that country club any longer. And now I think he's got the bug, if you will.
Yeah, the bug will catch you sometimes.
Yeah, well, I was too young at that point, I feel like. Like at that point, I don't really remember that, but the main regret I have is in high school because we had access to that one country club, Fawn Lake, during high school, and you were good friends with the coach. You coached softball with him, so it's like I had a free spot on that. I could have went to this private country club, had a private driving range every day after school, and I was just like, nah, don't want to do that. And then afterwards, of course, I become a golfer,
Yeah, those were the days back then. But
the natural flow of athleticism.
Yep.
You want to play basketball, the fast games, and then you're like, golf is so boring as a 12-year-old, and now it's all I want to play.
Yeah, I remember being back at the Argyle Country Club. This would have been, and this is in Silver Spring, Maryland. And this would have been probably back in 99, right about there, 99, 2000. And there was a junior golf program. And actually, Erin, my daughter, who's not with us tonight, but we took her out and had her in the junior golf program. And Tyler also went through the junior golf program. I don't know if Tyler actually played with Denny, but Denny was in the junior golf with my daughter for one fall or something where it was just 100, and they would just set it off at the 150 yard markers, and they would just play 150 yards, taking turns, getting to the green. So they'd only play a hole or two, but we'd be out there for about 2.5 hours trying to get a couple holes in. But that was back in the good old days.
Hey, y'all, could we take a break for a few announcements real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So John and Chris, they're in Charleston right now. And I don't know if you guys know about the weather that they got in Charleston, but they're having weather-related issues right now. So they're trying to get in and out of the webinar, but they're having some issues right now. So just wanted to make that announcement. And I also wanted to shout out some of our viewers. So shout out to Marty Tucker, shout out to Acorn, shout out to MMLG, shout out to Rick Gregory Phillips, shout out to Michael Anthony. Michael Anthony had a question, Tom, if you wouldn't mind answering that real quick. I know you said you wanted to stay away from questions a lot this live stream, but if you wouldn't mind, could we go over this question real quick?
Yeah, better do it before I finish my Juicy J.
Okay, yeah, of course.
It's
Don't want to
It's a
give
pint too.
exactly. Don't want to give bad advice or bad education. So
Yeah.
this guy
No
asked
advice.
Michael Anthony. He said MFA has a book value of 1842, which pays 35 cents dividend each quarter, with upgrade to $12.50 at Fidelity. Which earnings were you looking at? And I'm not sure exactly what context he's asking that under.
Actually, I can see that question, can I?
Yeah, you should be able to in the comments there.
All right. And who was it? Which question?
So if you scroll
Michael.
down, it said Michael Anthony above where Marty Tucker said "Hi, LOL." He was asking which earnings you were looking at for MFA.
Okay. Which earnings were you looking at? MFA. Hold on a second. Let me pull up MFA. I don't even remember looking at earnings, but I tell you, I look at so many stocks right now. Yeah, MFA, I don't recall looking at. I mean, I'm just looking at the chart right now, which I'm not going to bring it up on the screen, but it has a positive divergence on the daily chart, and it literally just went up and hit the 50-day moving average today. So technically, it's been in a downtrend for the last 4 months, kind of falling back into a support level where it's found buyers over the course of the last year or so, dating back to February of last year. I see lows February, April, May, June, all between about 9.50 and 9.25, and that's where we went down to as a low when the positive divergence was in play. We put in a nice little reversing hammer at about $9.50, and it got back up today to 10.32. So it's gone up about 8% off the low. Actually, more than that, I guess, if we look at the intraday low from back on January 13th. But I don't remember talking about the earnings, so I'm not sure what the context is there. But yeah, I mean, I don't really like the chart, to be honest, that downtrend, and looks like it's played out back to the 50-day moving average. So I would say, for me anyway, I would stay away from them. And I didn't look at the long term. I don't really know a whole lot about the stock, but just that quick little glance looks like maybe that positive divergence is played out. And so I'd probably leave it alone at this point.
Hey, and one last shout out to Marty Tucker. He said, I have to say EarningsBeats product service has transformed my investing. No way to pay that back, really. So just wanted to shout out that comment. I thought that was a cool comment.
Awesome. Thank you, Marty. Appreciate that. And thanks to everybody stopping by. I mean, we just kind of decided to do this kind of last minute. Well, for us, it's last minute. We decided earlier this week. And so we're like, hey, been cold, really don't have anything else to do. That's probably one of the bigger reasons. Can't go golfing.
We're stuck in the house.
January. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said you're stuck in the house right now. I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, I know. Well, like I said, I was from the Maryland area, so it's kind of funny down here in the Carolinas because we got like a half inch of snow and the schools closed, and we had, I think schools closed one day. We had late, schools were late a day or two, a couple hours late. It's like maybe some of the other areas got hit a little bit harder. We were right on the edge of the storm. I think it kind of went tracked a little bit south of us and then went up the coast. So that's why John and Chris got hit as hard as they did. They are on the coast in Charleston, South Carolina. But Matt is he's in Charlotte. So he's about 15, 20 minutes north of me. Tyler's in Pittsburgh. That's a little bit further north of me.
Yeah.
Like about 7 or 8 hours north of me.
We've got snow, we've got ice, we've got it all here. So
yeah. How cold was it when you walked your dog the other morning, Tyler?
It was like -10 when I went outside and walked him. It was so cold. It hurt to breathe. Like it was like the moisture in my lungs was like freezing up like as I was breathing. It was terrible.
Oh no.
Yeah. People in the north right now, all the way up into the north, like Chicago, Detroit, up into Canada. Our friends in Canada are probably like, you bunch of wimps.
Yeah, right. Our Canadian viewers right now probably laughing at us.
Yeah, we got down to about 14 at night. They're probably thinking, well, we haven't even seen that during the day for the last 2 weeks.
Like that sounds like spring.
Yeah. So we got you back, John. Or are you still struggling with your internet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Robot John.
Yeah, you're frozen.
We lost him again.
All right. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh,
So just to let everybody know, Matt, you've probably worked with, if you've been with EarningsBeats for a while, you've probably sent something into the support at EarningsBeats. Matt, along with Aaron and sometimes John, will take care of a lot of the customer service. If you've in the past had to wait for me to get back to you, I apologize. It's not Matt's fault or anyone else's fault. They get me questions, and usually I'm just so busy it's hard for me to get back to individual questions. But recently we did start up the video Q&As, and I hope that's something that the members, those of you out there that are members, hopefully you appreciate that and are enjoying that. Because I know Matt's working really hard on it. Tyler timestamps our videos so that we can get back to you and tell you exactly where your questions are answered and all. So that's one new service that we've added. And John and I have always talked about wanting to have a business that's really customer service oriented. And as far as having a partner, I couldn't have a partner that's better in terms of customer service. I remember some of the early years, John, members would write in at from around the globe, 2:00 in the morning, and he would just so happen to be awake, and he'd answer folks' questions almost right away. So he used to shock a lot of people, but that's just been John's nature over the years. He's always really on top of customer service. And I think that's carried over a lot with Matt and Aaron getting back to folks pretty quickly too. But like I said, I'm not always the best at it, mostly because I don't have time, not because I'm not interested. It's just hard to get back one-on-one. So that's why we started doing these Q&As. So everybody can listen to the answers. And so hopefully this will reduce some of the questions coming in, because maybe a lot of folks, I'm sure, have the same questions as other questions that we get that come in. So anyway, and Tyler's been working with us on the YouTube channel. I mean, we've been growing our YouTube channel really rapidly, so we owe a lot to Tyler on that. I think the last few years we've been growing our subscribership on YouTube by about 50% each year. And so we're looking to do that again in 2025, maybe even more. All of you can help us. I mean, spread the word. I try to, obviously we got a service and we got a business that we have to pay for and so forth. So we do have a paid service, but we do try to give a lot of information out to folks to try and help them navigate the world of finance, especially as it relates to the stock market. So hopefully, if some of you are in that camp, hopefully, you're able to watch some of our shows or follow my blogs over at Stock Charts. Always, I enjoy doing it. And the one way that you got a really good job that you like is if you didn't have the business, if you did the exact same things. And that's pretty much the way I feel. I think I'd be doing the same things. I know Tyler and I know Matt both have gotten more into the market since they came on board. And so I think that's showing a lot too in a lot of the research that we do, because the two of them really helped me quite a bit in research and trying to get more and more information out to everyone. So appreciate their help. And it's unfortunate that we're not able to get Chris and John on here to stay on here. They, like I said, they're still having some internet issues on the coast, probably from all this winter weather. And Erin just had issues at home she needed to take care of today. But we'll be doing these from time to time. I don't know, maybe once a quarter or something. We'll try to do something where we can just sit down and relax with everybody. But I'd be interested. I don't know, Tyler, if folks answered the question that we had posed up here earlier. But I would be very interested to know what your Friday night beverage of choice is. Whenever you're doing a happy hour or going out with friends or whatever. So if you haven't already shared it with us, share it with us. Like to know. So Matt, what do you got for this weekend? What do you think's happening Sunday for football?
Football. I'm hoping to get to see Washington and the Bills. That's my two picks. But we know the Chiefs can have different ideas. It's hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Now, is this your hopes or is this what you think is going to happen?
Hopes. And maybe what I think is going to happen. But I feel like it's maybe just me trying to talk it into existence. I feel like the Chiefs could definitely steal it, but Buffalo looks like a good team. And then Washington, I think that they're gonna. I don't know what it is. I have a feeling about Jalen Daniels. He's just the man.
Yeah, I was watching. I think it was one of the which Kelsey brother, Jason Kelsey. Is he the one that retired from the Eagles?
Yeah, the one from Philly. Yep.
Yeah, because I was watching him the other maybe a day or two ago, and I saw a video where he was talking about the upcoming game and talking about the Eagles. And by the way, even though I'm a fan of the Redskins, have been for many, 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 many years, I do respect the Eagles, especially this year's roster. I mean, honestly, I think they probably have the best roster of the 4 teams that are playing this weekend. I'm just hoping that from a Redskin or a Commanders fan perspective, that the team chemistry or whatever they have going carries them, because Kelsey was laying out. He basically said, "Hey, I'm being honest here. We're better." Talking about the Eagles, he said, "We're better than the Commanders at every position on the field." And I might disagree at quarterback, but outside of that, I mean, it is hard to argue. I mean, when you look at the 2 teams' rosters, and what I would say though is that Jaden Daniels has played so well that I think he lifts some of his players up, and it's just something about him. It's kind of like a Michael Jordan effect. I used to love watching Michael Jordan back in the 80s and 90s, because the players around him would become so much better because of him. And I think Daniels is having that effect in Washington right now, because if I was looking, for instance, at the wide receivers, you look at A.J. Brown and Terry McLaurin, and they're both great players. But if they had the same scheme and they had the same quarterback throwing to them, I probably would have to admit that A.J. Brown is probably the better receiver. But Terry McLaurin's kind of got that contested catch edge. I mean, he always seems to come down with the ball, and having Jaden throwing the ball, I think has just made him a much better receiver. So I don't know. I'm really hopeful. I'm already really happy and proud of the organization after just years of torture under Dan Snyder, getting a new owner, and then a new GM, and then a new head coach, especially taking him from the Cowboys, was really nice. And then just having a good draft and having some of these young kids come in and play, and as well as they have. And obviously, especially Jaden Daniels. I mean, he's having a rookie season unlike any other. I don't know if he's the best rookie quarterback ever, but he's certainly in that conversation.
Well,
maybe Berger be up there with him.
I think he might be the first rookie quarterback to lead his team to a Super Bowl if he does it.
Yeah, he would be the first one. I mean, Dan Marino, I think it was his second year that he took the Dolphins to the Super Bowl.
And same with Ben Roethlisberger. It was his second year.
Yeah.
So,
but I think his first year, didn't the Steelers go to the conference championship his first year?
Is that right?
I thought that's what I
remember.
Read.
Yeah. I remember him maybe doing it his second year. I don't know. I could be wrong though.
Yeah. Matt's he's a big fantasy player.
Oh yes.
I don't really do the fantasy thing, although I did join one just randomly on Yahoo this year. And I won the regular season and got eliminated in playoffs, but that was the first time I've ever done that. I just don't really have a whole lot of time to do it. I love football, NFL football, love golf, love the stock market, my family. Those are my passions. I know Tyler's got he's an animal lover. He's got his boy at home with him. Doesn't like his grandfather.
Nope. Doesn't like anybody besides me. Very protective.
I can change him.
Yeah, I want to see you break him. Yeah, you might want to wear some extra padding on your ankles.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm already doing that inside the house right now.
Get a face mask or something.
Yeah, be prepared for battle.
You're like a hockey goalie, pretty much.
So, anyway, do we get any answers? Anybody talking about their drinks?
No drinks, but we got an answer about the Eagles. Said the Eagles are very good.
Yeah. No.
That defense is real. Yeah. I'm a Georgia boy, Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah. You mean the Philadelphia Bulldogs?
The Philadelphia Bulldogs might as well be on defense.
Yeah, I know. We're going to have to face all those guys. You got one of their linebackers, didn't you? Wasn't it Dean? Was that one of the
Yeah, Dean's there. Then they got Jalen Carter.
Nolan?
They got a couple of Bulldogs.
Yeah, Nolan somebody.
Studs. Yeah, the Nolan Smith, I think. I don't know
Yeah.
if he's on their team. It sounds right.
Yeah,
Yeah, they have a lot of guys that used to play for Georgia.
Not really a bad strategy, honestly. Go after the players
national
on teams that win national championships.
Yeah, it's like kind of hard to miss when you're drafting Alabama the last 10 years.
Exactly. Well, we did that a little bit in Washington with Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne, our two tackles, both from Alabama.
Oh, we got a Blanton's. That sounds good.
Oh, Blanton's. What's that?
Yeah, it's a Scotch, I believe, or a whiskey.
Ah, okay. I'm not much of a liquor fan. I drink more beer, craft beer, and like I said earlier, recreationally, just Coors Light. If I'm going to have a few, it's easy to drink a few Coors Lights.
Except when the Sambuca comes out, then you're a liquor person.
No, I don't want that.
The
that
Buca,
comes
baby.
out on one of our golf trips.
It's mandatory.
No.
You don't have a choice.
The Buca, baby.
Yeah, we do a toast to somebody who had passed, who kind of got our golf trip started many years ago. So we do a Sambuca toast, usually once at that trip, and I'll do it for the toast, but that's it. I'm done with it after that.
Yeah, put that thing away. Get it away from me. I don't know anyone that actually likes black licorice anymore.
I'm not a big fan. I was just looking at some of the questions here. So Acorn asked or said, you don't bring any co-host into your YouTube videos like IBD does. We've talked about that a little bit. I've been talking to Tyler. We've had a couple discussions about maybe bringing some folks in. The problem is, our shows are fairly limited. They're 30 minutes long, usually the show that we do on Tuesday morning. But I'm not opposed to having a guest come on. It'd probably be a little bit more entertaining than having to listen to me for 30 minutes. But I don't know. I think we'll think about that and do some of that in 2025. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I mean, even if it's just me or Matt coming on to just moderate and kind of direct the flow of things, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, there you go. You get a special guest. You get Tyler or Matt coming in.
Yeah, we'll keep you off your crazy tangents. I don't know. It's kind of hard.
Oh, that's impossible.
Do like the rapid fire sessions on ESPN. Yeah. Time him at 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah. What is it? Pardon the interruption? I think you loved that show, right?
Oh, yeah.
With Michael Wilbon
and Wilbon.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Wilbon.
We'll just be like, all right, time's out. Time's out.
That's my
30 seconds. That's all you get.
Those are my DC boys.
Yeah, I used to watch them like every day when I was in high school. Just like it was on when I got home after football practice or whatever practice I did. It was always pardon the interruption. So
yeah,
they have a special place in my heart.
Absolutely. All right, another question here, Michael Anthony. Which is the best sector to own, and why do food companies make new lows each week? Well, I mean, part of the problem with the food companies, they're just in a part of the market, the defensive areas of the market, just not in favor right now. Maybe the pricing, with inflation and all, I think food prices had gone up quite a bit. And, grocery stores when you sell something that people need, like food, and your prices go up, you just raise your prices. People still have to get it. So it's kind of a little bit of an insulation against inflation, some of those types of areas of the market. But with inflation coming back down and money rotating back toward growth, a lot of those defensive areas just get ignored. I was looking at it today because I was actually in my article at Stock Charts that I wrote just a little bit ago, earlier this afternoon. I was talking about, the 100-year chart of the S&P 500 and the fact that, we've only had 2 secular bear markets in my lifetime. One started in the late 60s, early 70s. And then the other one was after, with the dot-com bubble as we turned the century. But if you think about it, I've been around for a long time. And 2 bear markets, we're always trying to call that next bear market. There's only been 2 secular. There have been 14 cyclical since 1950. but only 2 secular since 1950. And so, trying to sit back and always be negative about the stock market and try to call tops all the time, really costs people a lot of money over the years, because you're always afraid. You're always ready for, I want to see that next 20 or 30% drop, and then I'll go in. And of course, those 20 and 30% drops don't happen very often. So you wait until the market doubles, and then you get a 20 or 30% drop, and that's not really helping much when you're waiting. So I just think the big thing is in the market is it's really hard, but I ignore all the news and the media. I mean, news. I don't even know if half of it's news, but a lot of it's just opinion. I think you're better off being bullish 90% of the time and then just waiting for those moments, those few moments where everything is lining up. I have a lot of secondary indicators that I talk about, and from time to time they turn bearish, but they're secondary indicators. My primary indicator is price volume. And if you look at that 100-year chart, you can't argue with what's going on. I mean, the stock market's just going straight up. So I think you're better off remaining bullish and just keep remaining long in the market until you just get signals, just one and after another. They pile up like they did at the end of 2021, where we talked about the cyclical bear market before it ever even happened, because of just common sense and perspective. It wasn't news. It wasn't an inflation story. It wasn't anything in particular. I mean, obviously you always talk about inflation now because that was, we can go back and we can point it out, but the signals occurred before the inflation. Some of those signals were building before the inflation ever became a problem. So anyhow, I do think that we get signals from time to time that all come together that can help us determine when the market is really risky, but it's not every week. It seems like in the media, it's like once we move from one problem, we go to another problem. We're always talking about a problem. Meanwhile, the stock market just keeps going up, as it did today, setting another all-time high before it pulled back a little bit this afternoon. So anyway, I would just be a little cautious about being too bearish too often when it comes to the market. Yes, Marty, that chart was on a logarithmic scale. I don't use arithmetic. I think that's a waste of time. I mean, if you're looking at something this year versus 40 years ago, the change 40 years ago, you can't even see on the chart. But logarithmic scale is always using the same percentages going across. So it just makes it easy to compare to prior years. But anyway, I'm just kind of going through some of the questions. I really appreciate you guys just hanging around here. What's that?
Stated if he ever switches to logarithmic or arithmetic, can't say that
Arithmetic.
word. Arithmetic. It's the beer, I think. But he said, send someone over. I'm probably in trouble.
Yeah, I probably need medical help. Let's see here.
Officer, I'm not drunk. I can say arithmetic.
I swear.
Yeah. Tom Nolan, great job hosting the happy hour. Tom John, nice to see who is responding to chats and getting to know you guys better. Honestly, that's the reason we're doing this, and while we'll continue to do it. We do a lot of stuff with the stock market, but we're just regular people. Well, I might be something other than a regular person, but
sorry, that
the
was
rest
a
of
little
them,
loud.
I might be a little nuts from time to time, but everybody else is pretty normal. Let's see.
Hey, there was one shout out to Matt too, Larry Barkin. He said Matt's customer service is great when you were talking about customer service. So just wanted to make sure Larry got shouted out and then Matt got shouted out too. So
yeah, we agree with you. Matt does a great job. Matt and I go back a little ways too.
Welcome, Aaron.
Playing. Whoa.
Hey.
Whoa. Don't leave. We're just getting started now. The party just started.
Surprise. I'm fashionably late, I suppose.
All right. So for anybody who doesn't know, this is my daughter, Erin. And Erin is our director of everything, kind of what I say. She probably makes me nuts first, but then fixes everything and makes me feel better. So that's kind of her role in the company. She does a lot of great stuff. in terms of her creativity. I mean, many of you probably have seen that. If you've seen the monthly seasonality report, or that monthly seasonal report that we send out to our EB Digest subscribers, I mean, Erin does that. Just amazing. I mean, I got no skills when it comes to any of that. So I just have to, push that to the side and let Erin take over. She does a great job with that. And she does a lot in terms of keeping us all organized, like this latest Q&A stuff that we're doing. We've got this on a software program that just keeps us organized as a team. Well, it keeps the rest of them organized. I have no hope of being organized ever. I need reminders for everything because I don't have much RAM anymore. But now Erin does a really good job on our program, which is called Monday, where we just do keep a lot of our tasks. So when your questions come into support now, what used to happen is Matt would respond if he could find the answer for you, if he knew the answer, or maybe Erin had responded, or maybe sometimes John responds. And then if they couldn't answer and it was more of a technical question, they would pass it on to me and probably get frustrated because I probably don't get back to you in time. So we decided we'd come up with a little bit different plan. And we started taking your questions and organizing them and doing a video once a week. So we try to do this on Thursdays. And if you watch the last one, I mean, it was almost 2 hours because you just can't get me to stop talking, which is horrible. I mean, it's good on the one hand because I generally don't leave any stone unturned, but it's bad if you really want just a quick question answered or a question answered quickly. Because
there might be a tangent or two involved.
Yeah. What was that, Matt?
There might be a tangent or two involved.
Yeah. By the end of my answer, I don't even know what the question is.
Yeah. What was the question again?
I may have answered 5 other questions, but I don't know if I answered the first one. But anyway, so what we do is we do the video. Tyler timestamps it, which is awesome. And then Matt will get back to each individual who wrote in with the question, and we'll let you know that your question's been answered. We'll point you to the video and then also to the time that on the video that answers your question. So I think this has worked out a lot better. I mean, I don't know if anybody else has an issue, but it certainly seems to be working a lot better on our end. And hopefully it works better for everybody at EarningsBeats. But any issues, anyone?
Nope, not for me.
I think it's been great. We've received some early feedback that members are really enjoying it too. So if you have feedback for our team, definitely reach out. We're keeping an eye on that. I mean, you've seen our entire team here today at this happy hour. So we are a small team, but we do our best to do a lot of big things. So, we
do a lot
to thank for that. So
we do a lot for a 6-person team. There's no doubt about that.
We wear lots of hats.
Well, I usually wear this
for them, it's a lot of golf hats.
Yeah. For me, golf or football or something, usually sports related. But no, it's been a great team. I'm blessed to have both my kids working with me. I mean, I really do feel that way. Not too many folks get to say they, have a business where their kids get to work with them. And at the same time, hopefully they're learning something. Not sure what they're learning. Maybe they can tell you, but I hope they're learning something about the market, some long-term market lessons.
I'd say we're gleaning
definitely saving us tuition.
Yeah. Matt's like an adopted child, so he can come in our family too.
Yeah, I'm a Fido Bowley.
You're Hopkins hyphenated Bowley.
Yeah,
Hopkins,
that's what we said.
Yeah, let me see. So I'm going to go back through, see if any other things stand out on the questions. Just kind of going back. So if you typed something in a long time ago, I'm actually going to get to you last. Unfortunately, I probably should have started at the beginning. Outside of the USA, this is a good question, Tyler, because we just had our team meeting last week and we were talking about this. Outside of the USA, from which country do you get the most viewers versus paid subscriber freeloaders? Well, I don't know about freeloaders, but we do, through YouTube and through Stock Charts, which is their website is one of the, biggest financial websites in the world. So having been at Stock Charts for the last 20 years, I've had exposure around the globe. And then with YouTube, I mean, viewers come from everywhere. So we really do have a global business, which is awesome. But, and I don't know, maybe Aaron, you might remember, we were talking about this the other day, but where are some of the countries where we have some of the most viewers and subscribers and so forth?
Yeah, let me give some shout outs. So US is number 1, followed by Canada, the UK, Australia, India, Singapore, Germany, Spain, Russia, Hong Kong, Italy, and Israel.
Wow. So there you go. We got all the information for you right there.
But we're
You're
in
from any-
over 50 countries.
Yep.
So that's only
just
the
the beginning.
top handful, right?
If you're
Yeah.
from any of those countries, comment in the chat. Let us know.
Yeah,
We
give us
love
your
to
flag.
Bangladesh or Bangkok watching it. Let us know.
Yeah, you might be the reason why we just mentioned your country. I don't know. Could be.
Could be.
Be pretty cool.
What about inside the U.S.? I know New York,
Um,
Chicago,
I feel like all the major like metropolitan cities.
L.A.
So we have LA number 1, New York number 2. It's not just US. So Toronto is number 3.
So biggest
San
cities.
Diego.
Yeah.
What was that?
I said that you're just talking about biggest cities around the world, not just in the U.S.
Most are US.
Yeah. What are the top 10? I remember we went over this the other day.
Yeah, so San Diego is number 4, Seattle, Chicago, Houston, Dallas, Singapore, San Jose, San Francisco, and Calgary.
Wow.
Calgary, that was the one that stuck out.
Shout
to
out
me.
to Calgary. One of my best friends, Greg Schnell, of course, he passed last year, but really great friend. Talked to him a lot, really miss him. But he was in charge of the Canadian Society of Technical Analysts. I think I got the name right, CSTA. And he invited me up there, and I actually did a live presentation in Calgary, I think back in 2011. Pretty sure it was 2011. And I remember first time, I mean, this is just me, but I remember going out there and, it was early November. And so I know what the weather is on the East Coast. I was leaving from the Baltimore airport because I lived in Maryland, Virginia there at the time, and didn't really pack correctly.
For context, he likes to wear shorts year round.
Yes.
I do always have shorts on. It was 14 degrees last night and I was out in shorts.
Which
But
in South
usually I have a jacket.
Carolina, you can get away with that.
Yeah.
For
Mother
most of the
Nature and I have a battle. She usually wins. But I'm trying to hold her off this winter. But anyway, so I go out to Calgary and first we fly from Baltimore into Toronto. And then we stay on the plane. No, actually, we switched over because I was on like a little puddle jumper going up to Toronto, and then got off of that and got on a real jet and went from Toronto to Calgary. But when I left Baltimore, it was 65 degrees. When I got into Toronto, it was 65 degrees. And then we went up in the sky in the big jet from Toronto, and on the way to Calgary, it's all cloud cover. So I always like the window seat. So I'm looking down. I can't see anything. It's cloudy the whole way. And about 20 or 30 minutes before we get there, the pilot comes on and says, okay, we're approaching Calgary. We'll be landing in about 30 minutes. On the ground, it is 22 degrees. It is snowing. There's about 2 or 3 inches on the ground right now. And I'm looking, and I'm basically,
You got your flip-flops on.
yeah, I got shorts on. This is basically how I'm dressed going into Calgary at, beginning of November with 22 degrees and snowing. And so probably, I'm sure they looked at me and said, another American coming up north. But yeah, that was a fun trip though. I loved Calgary and the people there were so nice. I don't know if I've heard that's true of all of Canada, that just the people in Canada are really, really nice, very welcoming. And I had a great trip there hanging out with Greg. He had a cabin. I never got to join him in his cabin, but he had a cabin in Banff. which is right outside of Calgary. And I could see the mountains. I mean, it just was absolutely gorgeous. And I wanted to go so bad, but I was only there for like 2 or 3 days. Didn't really have the time that particular trip. And I never did get back there to go out to Banff with him. So it was one of those regrets, that you have. But, and if you all are, any of you follow a lot of what goes on over at Stock Charts, you probably remember and probably know Greg and his work and all. And certainly those of you in Canada, lost a really good technician and great friend and father and everything else. I mean, just a really, really good guy. But anyhow, that trip was one of my favorites, and I really want to go to Banff. I want to go there. I've heard it. I've seen pictures. It looks like it's just a postcard. So that's one of those places that on my bucket list to get to for sure. But let's see what else we got for questions. Watching Dave Keller. Dave's another friend of ours from Stock Charts and an options guy using technicals. He liked buying stocks that cross back through 30 RSI and also having a MACD crossover. What do you think of that set of technicals? Well, I mean, there's a lot of different strategies in the market. And I always say, hey, whatever works for you. I don't try to push what I look at. I mean, I explain what I look at. And, I think it works for me, but, I'm not sure it's going to work for everybody. Crossovers on the MACD, I use the PPO instead of the MACD, number one. They're basically the same. If you looked at them on a chart, you'd probably say there's absolutely no difference. But there are some subtle differences. One key difference is the PPO looks at the difference in the moving averages in terms of percentage instead of dollars. So that's probably the biggest difference. And so I prefer the PPO, but as far as the crossovers go, that doesn't matter whether you use MACD or PPO, it's the same. I like the MACD crossover of the center line from underneath because that's just changing from, a moving average. If you're using the default 12 period and 26 period moving averages, anytime you get a center line cross, it's telling you your short-term moving average is crossing back above your 26-day moving average. So it just means that you got bullish momentum. That's the only way you can get a short-term moving average to be above a longer-term moving average is by, crossing over it. And so going through the center line to me is kind of a big deal, especially if you've been under it for a while. That could be just the start of something really good to the upside. I mean, you need further confirmation. You need support to hold when you pull back and so forth. But yeah, I mean, that could be a really good start to a longer term uptrend. So I do like crossovers to some degree. The trigger line, though, if you're talking about, say, on a daily chart, the daily PPO crossing over its own moving average, if you've seen the MACD or the PPO, it's that thick black line, and then the red line kind of follows it, but it's a little bit behind it. To me, that is, I don't know that crossover is necessarily bullish, especially if you've already been in positive territory for a while. So I think there's just, some nuances to it that maybe you want to be a little careful with. But generally speaking, going through the center line, I think is kind of a big deal. Let's see. Yeah, Marty had a lot to say. Appreciate all the good things there. Marty, been following Tom since 2018. That's when I was writing over at Stock Charts. I was there for 4 years. I used to write a blog over there, and I'm so OCD, but I always wanted to post my blog at 9 a.m. And it always, I remembered back, I don't know, it was probably in the 60s, I'm dating myself now. But I was a little kid, and I remember my dad would always go outside or be at the front door, close to the front door when it was time for the newspaper to arrive. It always came at like 6:30 in the morning. And if he was waiting and it wasn't there by 6:35 or 6:40, I remember he would get upset because he always wanted to, he had his routine. And so when I started writing in that blog at Stock Charts and I started posting at 9 a.m., which is 30 minutes before the market opened. It was Eastern time. I just kind of found that I needed to be done by 9 o'clock. So everybody had 30 minutes to get ready for the market. And so I took that on personally. And I remember Chip Anderson, the president at Stock Charts, he actually asked me and Aaron Swinland and Greg Schnell. We talked about it. The three of us talked with him, and he said, I want somebody to write a regular blog in the morning before the market opened. And of course, Aaron, she's out in California, so market opens at 6:30 there. And Greg was in Calgary, market opens at 7:30 there, and I've got 9:30 on the East Coast. So I was like, I'll do it. This makes more sense for me to do. I've got more time in the morning to get ready to do it before the market opens. So that's how it all started. That was back in September 2015, and I did that for almost 4 years before coming back over to EarningsBeats. So that's how that all got started. And literally, if you went in and looked at there were, I think my longest streak of days where I published right at 9 o'clock. I think I went like 40 or 50 consecutive trading days without being a minute off. And if I posted it was 9:01, I would just be, broken for the rest of the day. But anyway, let's see. I don't know if you got any plans this weekend, Aaron? Are you all doing anything?
Well, I think we're all coming down with something, which is why I was late. So hopefully no one's catching it through the computer. But yeah, we might have a pretty low-key weekend.
Yeah.
I have a 4-year-old, and myself, and my husband are all commenting today, like, do you have a headache? I have a headache. She, I think, has a fever. So yeah, we're going down.
Yeah, today was what was that, Matt?
So just laughing at Aaron. It's like we're about to get taken out 10 count.
We are.
Mike Tyson.
Yep. Well, when you have a 4-year-old, you get taken out a lot because they bring home a lot.
We do. We had pneumonia twice in November. So
yeah, I had a little impromptu issue today over the last couple of days, really, but all of a sudden felt this hole in my tooth. And I don't know if, John's had a lot of issues, dental issues over the past year or two. And I feel like I'm maybe right behind him. I don't know if a lot of you all out there have it as well, but it seems like every 3 or 4 months, something is coming up with one of my teeth. And so, of course, I had to call into the dentist and get a last minute appointment. And of course, I'm telling him, well, I've got to be out of there by 2 o'clock. Here I am looking for some emergency help, and I'm telling them when they can schedule my appointment for me. But I was like, I got this happy hour at 4 o'clock, so I can't be in here for too long. But I ended up going in, and it was a filling that had come out, and taking some enamel with it. So fortunately, they didn't have to give me a whole lot of numbing solution or whatever. So I feel pretty good right now. But when you said headache, Aaron, that's what I was thinking about, because sometimes you get a little bit of a headache or just a lot of soreness after that, because I'd get the shots. Mm-hmm. Yeah, who likes those? Anybody raise your hand? Yeah, not me.
No one ever. Yeah.
Exactly. So let's see. Go Washington. Just marinated my chicken wings. Okay. Sounds like I need to get together with Marty, because I could do some chicken wings too.
He's got the good ideas.
Yeah. I'm a big chicken wing fan. Actually, if I stood up and turned sideways, you'd see that I probably have some other problems with food as well.
He's a fan of food.
I really enjoy eating a lot.
Me too.
Yeah. So Acorn, how long have you been posting? I think folks answered that, so I think we're good there. So Rick Gregory, greetings all. We have a couple of feet here of snow on the Georgian Bay and drinking scotch. Where's the Georgian Bay? Anybody know? I'm talking about my group. I know Rick knows.
I have no clue.
I know Rick knows. Is that USA or like actual
Ontario?
I'm going to guess
Ontario, Canada.
Yeah, I was going to guess Canada.
There's one of our Canadian folks.
I'm wondering if my brother visited there, because my brother took a trip up, went up to Niagara Falls and into, passed through Toronto. And I know he went east in Toronto and then circled back and ended up going all the way back over to Detroit and came back down that way. And he talked about some of the areas that they had stopped. And I don't know, Georgian Bay is kind of ringing a bell, but maybe I'm making that up. I don't know. Yeah, MMLG, thank you so much. She's giving us a huge shout out. Yeah, we do. I think we do share a lot of information. When I learn stuff, I do try to pass it on. Try to help folks. This is not an easy thing to do, and it's really important in terms of your financial growth and where you want to be when you retire, or maybe you're already in retirement. You just, just looking for some other guidance, or maybe you're just lonely. Trading is a lonely thing. A lot of folks just kind of doing it at their computer. So for all of that, I think, trying to do what we do at EarningsBeats with our online service and then doing these online happy hours, I think is pretty cool. Let's see, which part of Carolina are you from? Anywhere near the Low Country, South Carolina? Well, I'm actually upstate. So I'm like the Fort Mill area, literally just across the North Carolina, coming from Charlotte, just across the line. I think it's first exit. I'm not sure if Carowinds is South Carolina or if that's, I guess it is partly South Carolina.
I think so.
It's actually
does it go
in
across
both.
the border?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It's in both.
Yeah, I think it does straddle both.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the exit is, I don't know if, because the Welcome Carolina, South Carolina sign is right there at the exit. So I guess it is. Yeah. I guess when you get off the first exit, that's so it would be the second exit coming out of Charlotte heading south. But yeah, it's I love it here. Of course, I'm a big golfer, so getting away from the Maryland, DC area weather, get a little bit warmer weather earlier in the spring. So February or March, you can start golfing a little bit more comfortably. There's a lot of folks down here golf all winter. I'm not quite that crazy, but because we do get all 4 seasons, but much more mild here than it typically is in the Maryland area.
It has been cold here lately, though. Today was the first day in 4 or 5 days that we were above freezing.
Yeah.
We had one person writing right into us. Is it cold there? You all are dressed so warm. So to us, yes, it is cold here.
Well, my heat also went out, so I am actually cold.
Valid. Very valid.
Well, you know where you can go if you need to warm up a little bit.
Where's that?
You can come see me. I'll let you in.
Oh, gotcha. I was like, I'll let you in. It's not too bad.
Aaron right around the corner.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I'm making it through.
You might not want to go there, though. Enough. They've all got headaches, so they might give you something.
Yeah, they might get me sick.
The question came in, do we all work remote? And the answer there is yes, but we do get together sometimes. We've been doing it a little bit more often recently. It's a little tougher. John and Chris are about 3.5 hours from where Matt and Aaron and I are. And Tyler's about 7.5 hours north in Pittsburgh. So it's hard to get all of us together a lot, but we're going to try and commit to doing it maybe once a quarter. I would say of all of us, probably Matt and I work the most together because sometimes we'll be playing golf on a Thursday or Friday afternoon. We'll schedule golf. And so we'll go into Starbucks. He's only, like I said earlier, about 20 minutes from me. So we'll meet in a Starbucks between us and then we'll go golfing afterwards. So we definitely meet up a little bit more than the rest of the crew. And every once in a while, because of Aaron being close, we will do the same thing, but probably less frequently there. So I think I've kind of gone back through all the comments and questions and all. I really appreciate you all coming in. It's really just, I'd love to turn the mic, just open up the mic to everybody, and find out what everybody's doing for the weekend and all, but it might get a little crazy in here.
That'd be chaos.
You can tell us in the chat. Tell us in the chat what you're doing this weekend. We're reading them. I know me and Tyler definitely are, but Tom, you're reading them too. Matt, I'm sure you're reading them. We're all reading them. So tell us what you're doing. We'd love to hear.
Yeah. But, it's really, we decided to do this, just let you all know that we're, just regular folks. We just have a passion about the market. I love to educate. That's one thing. Even in public accounting, I did the same thing. I was in charge of our firm's, quality control and auditing. I was in charge of the auditing committee and so forth. And so did a lot of teaching of, our newer accountants when they'd come on board. I used to recruit at the local colleges. Always loved to do that, and kind of see how the younger folks were thinking about accounting. And, I remember those days when I was just getting into public accounting. I kind of had my own mind made up before I went that's what I really wanted to do. And it's really helped me in the stock market. I mean, having a really solid fundamental background in accounting and having audited certain industry groups, especially banks, knowing how banks operate probably has been one of the biggest takeaways from public accounting for me, and how it's helped me in what I do at EarningsBeats. Let's see if there's anything else. Anybody see anything? Because I'm going to.
There's a lot of questions. I'm not sure where you're at and what we've answered.
No idea. I was trying to follow along.
We answered a lot of them too.
Yeah,
just kind of randomly. So
we got one nice candles above your heads. I like that one. Let me see. Every snake oil indicator being sold right now is based on the Ichimoku cloud. I don't follow it. I mean, I'm aware of it. I see it. You pull it up on stock charts. There's so many. I probably only scratch the surface at stock charts in terms of what I use over there. Probably, I'd say less than 5% or 10%. It's a powerful website, and for me, it's more analysis paralysis. If I get too many indicators on my chart, I just can't pull the trigger. I've got so many things that are conflicting back and forth. One thing will tell me, this looks good, let's buy it. I'll get another signal, sell it. And you get all these charts, and you got moving averages going every which way, and then throw in the Fibonacci and add 14 indicators. And, I'm just looking at the chart like, I don't even know what's going on here. This is just too much. And again, maybe it's my OCD, but excuse me, I need to have a little bit less than that. All right. Dane, Texas. I don't know if that's where you're from, but that's awesome. Austin.
That's where everyone's from.
Dane.
We asked during that time.
What's that?
We were asking where people were from during that time that they commented. So that's where everyone's from.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you what, Julius de Kempenaar is one of the coolest guys I know. And we've all been able to interact with him some. I know, Aaron, you've interacted with a lot of the folks over at Stock Charts, and they really are a lot of really good people. And I've been asked before, like, is your style like anyone else's over at Stock Charts? Who are you most like? And I mean, honestly, I think probably from a strategy perspective and just kind of a perspective, I think it's Larry Williams, without a doubt. I had a chance to meet Larry a couple of years ago out in Seattle. And I mean, I would start talking to him about history, and he would be like, oh yeah, you got to check this out. And then I'd be like, oh, well, that's nothing. Check this out. We were kind of one-upping each other. And so that was a lot of fun. And I would say my overall perspective and everything is very similar to Larry Williams. But I think from a trading perspective, I'd say my style is closest to Arthur Hill. And Arthur is just one of the nicest people I've ever met. If you've ever talked to him or, had the opportunity to meet him and thought he was one of the nicest guys, you were right. He is. He is just a super guy. I really miss collaborating with Arthur. Probably ought to have him on as a guest sometime because we haven't gotten together in a long time. But getting back to Julius is in Amsterdam, and I mean, you would crack up if you knew a lot of the stuff that we have going back and forth. We like to play practical jokes on one another and all. He's just a really funny guy. And we've had him on with our Market Vision events or just other events that we've done. He's always so gracious to join us. And remember, he's 6 or 7 hours in front of us. So we could be having a 5 o'clock 5 p.m. webinar, and it's like, Julius, midnight there. What are you doing? Why are you joining us? Go to sleep. But that's just the way he is. And so, yeah, he's a great guy. Wales, UK. All right. We got folks everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Just trying to see if there's others. San Diego. Okay. You know what? That's a place I want to go to. As a golfer, the weather there. Yeah, I'll take that. Let's see. Netflix documentary about Low County, South Carolina, Murdochs. I don't even know where that is, so I'm definitely
Murdochs.
Well, it's the Murdoch family.
Oh.
There's a documentary on Netflix about them.
Gotcha.
Which is pretty wild. If you're looking for a watch, I have seen it.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good.
I guess I should have seen it then. Why haven't I seen it?
I haven't seen it either. I need to go check it out.
I was probably working on the strong earnings chart list.
Yeah.
Very possible.
I forget. Is it a series or was it just like a one-time documentary?
It was a series, I believe.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 to 5 episodes. I don't remember. It's been a while since I saw it. If you know, you can comment in the chat and let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know them personally, thankfully.
No, we don't.
Is South Carolina a good place to own a beach house? Yes. And then let me know. Give me a key. It depends what you're looking for. I mean, obviously, Charleston, Savannah's Georgia. Charleston, South Carolina is beautiful. Aaron, you like Charleston quite a bit, don't you?
I love Charleston. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm more of a Myrtle Beach kind of guy because there are golf courses everywhere. Actually, there are golf courses all over South Carolina, but definitely the beach. You got a lot of golfers. I used to make an annual trip down there with different groups to play some of the South Carolina courses. That was a long time ago, though.
We just got a comment. Tom, there's nothing more calming than your smooth voice.
Oh,
Like
I'm a
butter.
smooth operator.
Smooth operator.
Thanks for the comment, Steven.
Yeah, I appreciate that. There won't be a calm voice on Sunday during the game. I can tell you that much.
He won't have
be
a
live
voice
streaming
on
that
Monday. For the
Yeah, that's
webinar
the real
Monday,
deal.
his voice will be gone.
Yeah, when I used to go to the games, that was a true statement. I would be 4 days without a voice. I couldn't have done YouTube back then.
No.
Yeah, because I'm just crazy when it comes to my football teams. And I sometimes I'll have my Virginia Tech gear on here too. Of course, Aaron went to Virginia Tech, so got a couple Hokies here. Like the Hokies. Beautiful part of Virginia, by the way, if you haven't been there through the Shenandoah Valley. Let's see. I think I've gotten through most. Have I ever chased an alligator on a golf course? That would be a big no. In fact, if I see the alligator, I'm probably picking my ball up and moving to the other side of the fairway or rough or wherever I am. Which is bigger, stock charts or IBD? I have no idea. I don't know, bigger in terms of what, viewers or website, visitors. Probably there are things out there that will tell you, the rankings of website and their sizes in terms of visitors. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. My guess would be IBD. Just because of William O'Neill and a lot of his followers for many, many years. But I really don't know the answer to that question. That's a good question. Maddie, you just about jumped out of your skin. You were that close to an alligator?
Oh, I can pull up the video next time I show you. Oh my gosh. I was in the golf court, thankfully, but I had my foot hanging out, and I think I was maybe 2 feet away from it. Maybe.
Alligator is like, there's a chicken tender.
Yeah. It was in Hilton Head too, so it was literally the same month that I think that they had an alligator get somebody. So I was like, oh, geez, I don't want to be number 2 this month.
Yeah. Sentiment question from Larry. Thanks for the question. Sentiment getting very bullish. The 10-day put call ratio is right down to where it was in December. Yep, we know how December went. Yeah, I mean, I would say with sentiment and the put call ratio that when it's high, I think panic is a better sentiment indicator to buy than complacency is a sentiment indicator to sell. I mean, I have seen bull markets just rage on and on and on. Yeah, you'll get maybe short-term pullbacks, but it finally took the most ridiculous complacency and buying of calls back at the end of 2021 than we've ever seen before finally that marked a very significant top in the market when we had the cyclical bear market in 2022. So I think that the pessimistic readings are better in terms of calling market bottoms than the complacency readings are in terms of calling market tops. But I still use them both. I mean, it's all about managing risk. When you're a trader, it's not just, you got to understand the environment that you're trading in. Some environments, it's just like the market wants to go up, just keeps going up day after day after day. And those are perfect for swing trades. Other times you get into choppy markets. And I think we're going to have periods of choppiness. I mean, all we need is for the Fed to say something at their interest rate meeting next week, something, or is it next week or week after? Might be the week after. I'd have to double check. Anyway, all it's going to take is for Powell to say something about inflation. And we could find ourselves, in another lengthy 3-4 week pullback and decline. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast for 2025. But yeah, Larry, you're right. It's been on the low side. Nothing like what we saw at the end of 2021. But still, it definitely has been more complacent. I think that's going to, take a little bit of a toll throughout the year on the market. I don't think it causes any kind of major sell-off, but I do think that we're going to see a little bit of this back and forth choppiness as a result. Fed meeting, next comment, next week. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. So we'll see. So Tuesday, Wednesday is going to be kind of interesting. A lot of earnings coming out. But I'll tell you, I think the earnings are going to be really strong. I'll be more interested in what the guidance is for many of these companies. All right. Love you guys. Going to shake your hands one of these days. Well, there you go. Virtual handshake.
Virtually.
Yeah, I love Vegas. I don't want to be there for very long because I still want to have money when I come back to South Carolina. But yeah, I do enjoy going out there from time to time. I got a whole group of friends that comes out there. They come out every year for Sweet 16. I've talked about joining them for it, but haven't done it yet. But who knows? Maybe this year. 40K Clear Choice Dental. They took them all out. They put them all in, and I chew through nails. That's a good comment. Yeah, my brother had some work done. And of course, John Hopkins, my partner's had a lot of work done, and it is really expensive. Tony, hi there. Love this format. Can you discuss the impact of the trade war? Well, we've seen what happened in 2018. I mean, the trade war is definitely a negative, or can be a negative. I think the biggest problem with the trade war is dealing with China. And the biggest thing there is just the impact on semiconductors. And we saw that firsthand at the end of 2018, fourth quarter of 2018, when we had a cyclical bear market. It seems so far like President Trump's being a little bit easier, or seems like he's being a little bit easier than he was back then. I'm not quite sure why or if it's going to last. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be one of the stories of 2025 for sure. Tariffs and the impact on the markets. I don't think they're going to have long-term impacts. And a lot of folks saying, well, they're going to be inflationary. Well, we did it back in 2017, 2018, and they were not inflationary. We didn't have inflation problem, no spikes. So I don't know that I buy into that. But it makes great headlines. Mm-hmm. Chicken wings and ding dongs. There you go. Wash it all down with Bacardi Coke. Georgia Bay is on the Great Lakes. I've sailed that many years. Awesome. Dane, watching football and trying to stay warm this weekend. Awesome. That is a good plan. Are you going to the Masters this year? You know what? I'm still a little upset about this whole Masters thing because I have put in for Masters tickets. You know, they have that draw, and I can't tell you how many years I've put in. I've had people tell me, "Oh yeah, I've gotten the draw 3 times." I have yet to get it. I'm over. So that is still a bucket list item for me to go to the Masters. I know, Aaron, I don't think you've been. Tyler, you haven't been, right? Matt?
I've not. I just have some Masters memorabilia.
Yeah, we're over. I do have a Masters hat.
I've driven around the course, but I've never been inside.
Oh, you mean not around the course, like on the cart paths? You're talking about outside.
No. I mean, I could leave it totally ambiguous and you come to your own conclusion, but no. I had a friend who lived in Augusta. Yeah.
All right.
Who's going to win it?
What's that?
Who's winning the Masters?
Denny.
That's all. You want Denny?
I don't know. That'd be a tough one for Denny to pull off. He's still looking for his first win.
Yeah.
He's ranked like 45th in the world, though. I think he got down to around 31 or 32 last year. I tell you what, he's the best golfer I ever saw in my life. I mean, it was, when you're around one of those people, that is just above and beyond everybody else. Watching Ralph Sampson play basketball in high school, he was 20 minutes up the road from me. And then watching Denny play golf, I mean, at Argyle, I think he was 14, maybe 15 years old and shot a 64. And this was a golf course where at the time, I was probably like a 2 or 3 handicap. And the back tees, I had never broken par. 71 was par, and that was my best score. And watching that kid, I mean, he was just straight down the middle. Probably not much longer than me back then, but now he is. But hitting it, so many greens, and his putter he's recognized as the best putter on tour. He and Cam Smith, probably 2 of the best putters on tour. But I mean, he was lights out. I was a really good putter and still a pretty good putter, but I've never seen anybody putt like that in my life. So always fun to watch Denny. He almost won the Memorial tournament last year, Jack Nicklaus tournament. He was up 1 going in the last hole, bogeyed, and then went into a playoff with Victor Hovland and lost to Hovland.
Didn't he go in the water on that one?
What's that?
In the playoff? Didn't he go in the water in the playoff?
No, that was the one against Akshay Badier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
I'm trying to think what tournament that was. He shot a 28 on the back 9 to force a tie. 8 under par in 9 holes. And the putts he was dropping, I mean, I was just watching him. I was like, I can't even believe I'm watching this. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully he'll win one this year. But yeah, winning a major would be awesome. Las Vegas of chilly 55 degrees. Brian, Rhode Island. I've been close. I don't think I've actually ever been in Rhode Island. I've been in, let's see. I've been in Massachusetts. I've been in Hartford, Connecticut. I've been in New York, obviously, Pennsylvania, heading up that way. But once you get up to Rhode Island and north of there, I've not been.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
It looked like you might have skipped over a question by Kai.
Okay, what one?
It's the rating from Street, Alpha, Banks, etc. are all very poor for Tesla and NVIDIA, but their prices just do not drop. Any comments?
Oh, Tesla and NVIDIA are 2 of the best companies in the world. I don't know. From time to time, they're going to struggle and so forth. But I mean, it's hard to look at either one of their long-term charts and be bearish. I mean, I feel like, being in those stocks at the right times make all the difference in the world for your portfolio. And again, sometimes they'll go through some rough periods, more so Tesla in the last few years than NVIDIA. And NVIDIA has just been a monster. Yeah, I don't really look at what other folks are saying about companies. I just look at the charts, and it'll show up. I mean, if they're selling, if Wall Street as a whole is selling, you're going to see the distribution in the charts. And it's going to be in a downtrend. It's going to be an ugly relative strength, and you're going to stay away. I mean, look, if you look at NVIDIA, even when it was struggling, was still had a very, very strong relative strength line versus its semiconductor peers. It's one of the best companies in the semiconductor space. So I don't have any problems with it whatsoever. And as far as Tesla goes, I just think their technology and where we're headed, I don't know that any company is better positioned going forward the next 5 to 10 years than Tesla. Rivian started to make a run at them, really struggled. There for a while, everybody was talking about Ford and GM. And I mean, Tesla just at the end of the day, it's kind of like Apple versus all the companies that were, trying to make, do cell phones and stuff, that they just swamp them. They're just better. So I don't have a problem with either one of those companies, but obviously from time to time, their charts, sometimes are going to look better than others. Mm-hmm. I like Larry Williams too, says Larry Bauer. Hopefully I got your name right. Bauer. You are both similar when it comes to following market history. I prefer your approaches better. They're very familiar. That's nice. That's, Larry Williams, I have a lot of respect for. And I have a lot of respect for a lot of the folks over at Stock Charts because I've been able to work closely with them. But Larry Williams' work, when he does a video, I usually watch it. I really like his cycle work and all that he does, which is a little bit more in depth than what I do. Mine's probably a little bit more top level. And I think he gets more into individual cycles for individual stocks and areas of the market and so forth, which I find really useful. But Larry tends to be mostly bullish. And I think that's the way you should approach the market. I don't know why there's so many folks that always want to be negative, the stock market. If you have a position, a platform, and you're talking to people and you're always talking negative, you're influencing a lot of people to be out of the market. And in my opinion, ruining their long-term financial dreams and goals and so forth. I mean, you got to be in the stock market over time. A lot more in than out. Anyway, I'm just kind of flipping through, so I may have missed some other questions. Got to go Chiefs. Okay. Going for the 3-peat this weekend. Tom, your kids don't look alike. Your daughter is your copy. That's interesting because Tyler and I see a little bit of me in both of them, but Tyler and I have some younger pictures. Like Tyler had his hair long when he was like 5th or 6th grade. And I've got a picture about the same time, 5th or 6th grade. And you can barely tell us apart. But neither one of them have gray hair, fortunately. I'll give them that. And Tyler still has.
I'm starting to get there. I'm starting to have a few pop up.
Tyler still has most of his. And fortunately, Aaron has hers too. Anyhow, let's see what else. We're going to wrap this thing up here in just a minute. We just wanted to hang around for, heck, it's been an hour and a half.
Hey, Tom, so there was a question on Merck, but I don't think you need to go over it. We did go over that in the Q&A session recently, the last one.
Yeah. I mean, Merck was just, someone had asked me about best stock in the Dow, and I just said, hey, it depends on your, what lens you're looking at or looking through. If you're a short-term investor or you're just looking for 2025 and you're looking for something that just seems like, hey, it just broke out, that sort of thing. If I'm looking in the Dow Jones, I'm looking at Amazon. I mean, I love Amazon's chart. I own it. I think it's going to have a big 2025. But I threw out Merck, not so much because it's a nice chart. I mean, if you look at it, it's been going straight down. You probably look at it and say, okay, Tom has finally lost his mind. Why is he picking Merck? But it's more about the fact that it pays a nice 3.5%, 4% dividend, something like that. It also, if you look at the long-term chart, if you look at a monthly chart that goes back about 15 years, you'll see a nice channel. It's come back down near the bottom of the channel. It's testing its 50-month moving average. It's also, I think it's I think the monthly RSI has dipped back into the 40s, and the PPO, monthly PPO, is almost at the center line. And if you look at when those three things have happened in the past, going back to many, many years, that's been an absolute perfect time to buy Merck. So, I'm going to say right now the short-term waters are a little murky. Too bad John's not in here. John likes to do the puns. We get the puns going back and forth. But I'm going to say that Merck's a little murky in the near term. But from a longer-term perspective, again, if you look back at the chart, somebody who's interested in a nice dividend and, willing to wait a while for a good, solid, long-term company to rebound, Merck's been around for a long, long time. Those are the kinds of stocks that I would consider from a longer-term perspective. So it's just two different ways of looking at the market and looking at the Dow Jones. So Don also mentioned, I skipped that question on Merck. So hopefully that helps you out there, Don. Tom, you are the best. Thank you. I'm going to give that as the number one comment of the evening. Just kidding. Thank you. Appreciate that. Do you have option trading in your service? No. I am an aggressive trader, and I've reached my limit, and I know what my limits are. Just like I say, indicators have, limitations. Tom Bowley has limitations too. And one of them is options. I had a great options trade back in like 1999 or 2000. I mean, I literally could have paid my house off. I was very aggressive, and I watched it all go away. Just some really dumb decisions as the stock started pulling back. I had the stock and the options, and as the stock started to come down, I got rid of all my stock and held on to the options, which eventually went to zero. So it was like, oh, okay, that was really smart. But anyway, I just realized that sometimes I can get too emotional if I have too much invested in a trade and I don't think clearly, and you've got to be able to think clearly. You've got to have the discipline. You've got to be able to look at your charts unbiased and say, okay, this isn't working out. Let me keep this small loss from turning into a big loss. And so, anyhow, I stay away from options. I just know that that's like kryptonite for me. Always have the Trader's Breakfast of Champions, a good cup of Colombian coffee and a Hostess Twinkie. I like it. Breakfast for Champions. Love Virginia Tech. Yeah, we're going to agree with you on that one. Beautiful campus. Mm-hmm. And great, well, not as great lately, football program, but we've had some great times with football there. All right, seems like everybody's kind of checking out, and we are getting late. We're just going to go ahead and call it. It's been an hour and a half. I want to thank you, though. Cheers to all of you out there. Really appreciate all of your support that you've given us at EarningsBeats. It's the reason why all of us are here. It's the reason why my kids are working with me. We try really hard to get the best, try to put out the best information possible. Try to do it in an unbiased fashion. Some of you, probably think that I'm always bullish. I'm not. If I'm really bearish, if I start seeing signals that things don't look good, I will absolutely be convicted in my bearish view. You could go back and look at my YouTube videos, the first half of 2022. I think it'll be pretty clear. I mean, we had many bounces, and I kept saying, don't get in. Don't get in. We're going lower. We're going to go lower. We're going to go lower. And then it was sometime in like May and June, I started thinking, okay, maybe we're getting to the point where this is enough, and it's getting safer and safer to put money back in the market. But if it seems like I'm not bearish much, I'll just tell you to go look at that 100-year chart on the S&P 500. It goes straight up. We're not really bearish very often. So I'm doing a disservice if I'm bearish all the time. Anyway, I will promise you, if I see a lot of issues in the market, you'll be the first to know. But again, I do want to thank everybody for stopping by. We'll do some more of these. Maybe another couple months, we'll do another one. when it's actually warm, get into spring. Then Aaron won't have to come in with a couple layers on, and Matt won't have to be freezing in his place with no heat. And Matt,
I'm really excited about it.
What was that?
So I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, Tyler won't have to go outside with his dog in -7 degrees. So it'll be good for all of us. Anyhow, though, cheers to all of you. Really appreciate what you've done for us at EarningsBeats, and we're going to be around here helping out long as we can, long as we get your support. So thanks so much. Have a great evening, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the football games. And I don't mean to be controversial, but go Redskins.
Hey.
Have a good one, everybody.
See you later.
Thanks, y'all.
Everybody else as well.
Bye.
Bye.